What's up, guys? It is Aiden, and I'm here with the very first episode on not only my channel, but also for the Jungle Arena League, my league that I just started, our first league ever. I'm here with one of my fellow mods, Exalted. Say hello.
Hello there.
And we are here with our own draft team, the Missouri Mewtwos. You probably know me
Yes.
from another channel under the alias of the St. Louis Sogalios. But we're taking a break, combining forces, becoming one team. So I had to change up the team name a little bit. And today we're just going to be analyzing our draft, breaking it down piece by piece, and yeah, just going from there, giving you guys a little bit of a insight as to why we did what we did, and hopefully we can make a little bit of noise in our inaugural season.
Yep.
So anyway, go ahead and Exalted, go ahead and start us off with our first pick, very first pick, what we built around and why we did that.
Well, for our very first pick, we wanted to use something that I'm not too familiar with, as I'm a little bit newer to the draft scene. So we decided to go with Mega Scizor, which I've seen put in some incredible work over my little time. I mean, it's 150 base attack, which is already humongous, and most things do not like to switch into a technician boosted, stab boosted bullet punch. It's just not a very fun time. It can also be a very good bulk, and because this is a Nat Dex league, we are getting close combat because Scizor gets it in Gen 9, which is going to be huge as a good way to hit fellow steel types, which we can't do with our stabs. But again, going back to the Nat Dex side, we also still get Roost and Defog, which can come in useful. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after we chose Mega Scizor, we had our main guy, our one that we build around, base 150 attack, bullet punches. For bullet punches though, even stab, technician boosted, base 150 attack, it still may not hit as hard as you like it to. So we decided we need some hazard support. And so we went with Hisuian Samurott next, one of the best hazard setters in the game. Not only does it set hazards really, really well, but it also is a good water and dark type, which allows you to resist ghost types, which is really, really nice. Always having water types is amazing, as well as it really likes to run AV and scarf sets, maybe even band sets or expert belt, focus sash. It has a lot of different things it can do. The set is almost always the same, but it can run a lot of different items and play very, very differently depending on the week. And so having it be able to be AV to maybe handle like ghost types like Dragapult, Spectre, or hit them back with like sucker punches, ceaseless edges, stuff like that. Continue setting up spikes. It is a very, very valuable mod, and if we run it Scarf, it is going to be a very, very good breaking piece with Ceaseless and like Razor Shell. It is very, very dangerous and very hard to find a switch into unless you have something like a Mandibuzz. And if we decided to, for whatever reason, run like Rain Dance on a team, or if we face a Rain team, then it also boosts the water type damage, which is going to be very, very valuable as well. It's just a kind of bulky, but yet still very offensive piece.
Up next after that, we already did get a water type, but Samurai Hasui unfortunately cannot switch into a whole lot due to it being a little bit more on the frail side, so we decided to grab another water, and a phenomenal water in Tapu Fini. I think Tapu Fini's type really matches up well with Mega Scizor's, as obviously the big weakness of Mega Scizor is fire, and Tapu Fini can eat up fire hits for days. Also, Tapu Fini does not like stuff like grass and poison types, which Mega Scizor can switch into very easily. It also just has some pretty good tools. Obviously, Misty Terrain can help Mega Scizor not get burned, and alongside any of our other physical attackers that have a risk of getting burned. We can do more defensive sets with stuff like Haze, Defog, maybe set up some screens, we get knockoff, or we can go maybe more offensive with Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Moonblast, Scald. There's just a lot of options that this mon gives us, and I think it works well with our main guy.
Yeah, and so then next, we decided that we needed some more breaking power, because Scizor can be a cleaner, it can be a breaker. We also decided we need a ground type. We have 2 water types, and we have nothing that is immune to electric types. Electric types kind of roll us. So we decided to pick up Mamoswine. Mamoswine is one of personal favorites of mine. Not only in the draft scene, but just as a regular Pokemon itself. I've always loved this thing since Gen 4. Never thought it was really that good until I used it in my first season of draft, and it put in really good work. It can be banded, it can be scarfed, it can run Trailblaze sets, which are very, very deadly. Ice Ground hits basically everything in the game. For super effective damage, it is really, really good. It can also be bulky. Its HP and its defense stats really aren't anything to be ashamed of. It can run Assault Vest and be a lot better on the special side of things, as well as it just can hit things really hard with like just stab icicle crashes, stab earthquake, and as well it has thick fat, so those fire type moves are not gonna be hitting nearly as hard. Plus, people don't really want to run fire types into Tapu Fini anyway. They kind of need to for Scizor, but Mamoswine having thick fat helps that weakness even more. And so this was one of our key kind of pieces in order to really putting Mega Scizor together, because Scizor can fit kind of all around, but we wanted to make sure we really had some like actual breaking support for that, and as well as some support for our support pieces, because if we didn't have that, electric types would just have a field day against us and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Yes. Up next, even though we got a breaker, we decided to grab just another one just to be safe. But really, this mon can do anything as it has a million moves. This mon is Infernape. And like I said, this mon gets literally everything under the sun. We want to set up, we got bulk up for maybe a physical side. We get Calm Mind. We get, I think this thing gets Swords Dance. I would not be shocked. It does. It's just a lot. Maybe one more. We get Fake Out for easy chip. Maybe we want to run physical like Scarf or something. We get Close Combat. Flare Blitz. We can do stuff with Iron Fist, Drain Punch. Maybe you even want to go special with Overheat and all that. I think Infernape is just a really versatile mon that we can splash into a lot of different situations, and I think our opponents can't really guess what set is going to be most weeks.
Yeah, I definitely like Infernape having the complete versatility that it does. And so next up, we decided, well, if we're setting our own hazards, we should probably get something to deter others. And so we decided on Cyclizar. So not only does this fill out our Dragon Fairy Steel Core, which is one of the strongest cores in the game, it also is a very fast speed tier. It can go ahead and be offensive with Shift Gear or like Draco Meteor or Assault Vest sets with like, you know, physical knockoff, Rapid Spin, Power Whip, things like that. It gets any move under the sun. It gets coverage for days, and it can kind of just do it all. It can be special, it can be physical, it can take hits, not as well as maybe you'd like it to, because those defensive stats aren't the greatest, but having Regenerator and being able to slap HP and then something into defense stats can make it take more hits than what it may seem, as well as, again, having the Regenerator being able to heal health that it wouldn't usually be able to outside of like leftovers or citrus berry or something, helps it out a ton. And so we decided to pick it up, as well as over just a regular defogger, because we really want our own hazards to stay up. Tapu Fini can be a defogger if we absolutely need it to 1 week and we just don't really need the spikes, but having Cyclizar here ensures that we can kind of mitigate our own the hazards coming onto our side of the field and be able to kind of keep them on the opponent's side as well. And it also helps with our ghost type matchup, which we already had a decent matchup into, but we further solidify it with our next pick.
Yeah, like you said, we're just gonna keep screwing over ghost types with our next pick of Drapion. Now, a good reason why we wanted Drapion is Grounded Poison. Obviously, it is never fun to just get steamrolled by Toxic Spikes, so we want to try to avoid that. Also, Drapion is just a very good Pokemon overall. While it may not have any too crazy of stats, it has base 70 HP, base 110 defense, and base 75 special defense, which are all nothing to scoff at. And base 90 is definitely not the best for attack, but it can definitely put in some work. We get options like Pursuit, Leech Life, and a Stab knockoff, which can definitely be huge. We run AV sets. We can run maybe a choice set if we want. I also think it's just very good defensive Pokemon that can put in some damage.
Yeah, and so then we decided that we needed some mons to abuse the new gimmick of this generation, Terra. So we have Terra Azelf as our next pick. We decided, man, we are kind of one-dimensional on the physical side, so we decided to get Azelf. This thing as a Terra Captain can be very, very strong. It gets Nasty Plot, it is very fast, it can do some Stealth Rock Explosion funny things as a lead, which is very hard to prep for, especially when you see lead. You kind of expect it, but it could also straight up just be a setup set with Nasty Plot and whatever else it wants to. And so having this be the case, we really think that we needed this little boost, not only for our speed tiers, but also just to make sure that things can't just run physical bulk and wall our entire team. in 1 week, and then we just can't do anything. And so that's why we have Azelf. Terra Fairy is very good. It can even be Terra Dark if we want to avoid some prankster shenanigans, which is very matchup dependent. Or it could just be any other offensive Terra with Terra Blast that we need it to be. It is very versatile, and it also provides us with another ground immunity, which isn't really War Week 2, but it definitely still helps. Having ground immunities is always good.
So for a little bit of context, we only got sniped one time for this entire draft league, and unfortunately our next mon was the product of us getting sniped. We originally wanted Delmise, but it got taken away from us. So we decided to go with Terra Mismagius as our ghost type, as we wanted a way to block hazards, because obviously Hisuian Samurai is a big cornerstone of our team. So if we can try to keep those hazards up as long as we can, I think it's going to provide us a lot of value. Also, Mismagius is just really good as a Terramon. Obviously, you see Levitate, and your first thought is go Terra Electric, because obviously it has no weaknesses. But there's also some value to Terra Steel, losing one of Steel's more important weaknesses, and as fighting types don't really want to try to attack a ghost type, that seems kind of stupid. It also just gets a really good move pool. It gets stuff like obviously Shadow Ball as stab. It gets Hex, so if maybe want to do some shenanigans with that with Sunwave or Will-O-Wisp. It gets Heal Bell, so if we maybe want to avoid some status of our own, we can do that. Overall, just a really good bulky mon. It can set up, it can be a good supportive player. And with Terra, I believe it can go far.
Yeah, and so then we just needed one more mon to fill out the roster, and we decided that we needed a good, fast electric type. Electric types are very, very valuable, very, very good. In this format, it is kind of a matchup check. If you don't have a ground type, well, you're going to get steamrolled by an electric type. It can run Specs, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and just run you over. So we decided to go with Heliolisk. Heliolisk not only is electric type, but it's also a normal type. So once again, we said we don't want to fight ghosts. However, it does give it an unwanted weakness in fighting, but I feel like the rest of our team does fairly well into fighting types. And so we chose it to basically just be yet another speed tier, have that electric typing, which is very, very valuable. Not a ton of immunities. You'd need Volt Absorb, Motor Drive, Lightning Rod, or a ground type. And Heliolisk as well, being able to have normal type, that way it can have stab, hyper voices, and boom bursts is also very, very valuable. Those moves hit so incredibly hard when stab boosted and specs boosted, and so we just having that normal type where only steel, ghost, and rock are stopping it. It is very, very valuable to this special side of the team that can break through things.
That's all for our mons, and I personally, I think we have a pretty solid team here going on. I don't think it's anything too special, but I think we just drafted a bunch of good mons that just put in work.
Ton of solid all-around mons, balanced team, not too much offense, not too much defense. Definitely think people will exploit some weaknesses that we have, but we will find those out as the season continues. That has been our personal draft analysis for the Missouri Mewtwoos of the Jungle Arena League Season 1 Duos, the Infernape Division. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye-bye.